Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Kerchik, and I am a consultant for Clean Waterways. I was hired by townships of the Hudson Valley who are concerned about the long-term effects of the dredging of the Hudson River, which occurred between 2009 and 2015. Our hope for this presentation today is to address a brief overview of the dredging project, the environmental and health impacts the project has had, and then go over some proposed actions and monitoring for this committee to consider moving forward. The Hudson River extends 350 miles through eastern New York in the United States. The river originates in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York, down through the Hudson Valley, and eventually drains into the Atlantic Ocean. During the process of collecting data for today's presentation, we had the opportunity to speak with someone involved in dredging to give us a perspective on how dredging is done, what its purpose is, and the impact it has on maintaining waterways. We were very fortunate to have Dennis Cole of the Inland Dredge Company based in Burlington, Wisconsin, speak to us and want to share some of that interview for this committee. So we're going to play a little bit of those excerpts now.
Dennis, thank you very much again for making the time to do this today. And I guess just to start out with, if you could give us maybe a little bit about your background, position, or education, and how you got involved with dredging.
Okay, I got involved with dredging approximately 40 years ago.
Okay.
We've done dredging on lakes and ponds in the Mississippi River. We've been on a lot of open water. We've been on some on Lake Michigan too. We do a number of different types of dredging. We do mechanical dredging using long reach excavators. Then we also sub with another contractor to where he would have a small excavator mounted on a barge. He would then dip and bring the material up, put it into the second barge, which is called the transport barge, and that then is motored to shore, and then we'd offload there into dump trucks and haul. Okay, and this material would end up, in most cases, 95% of the material through the years ultimately ends up on farm fields.
What would you describe, if anything, your role in water quality, and like what would you say your impact has on the environment doing the dredging?
Well, in most cases, as you know, the silt sediment accumulates from a number of different reasons. Okay, one is that streams, creeks, or swales ultimately end up going into a creek or whatever, and ultimately ending up into a lake. And what happens is the erosion from this water accumulating and hatching its way through properties and carrying silt sediment, sedimented material drops it into the lake or pond where the water slows down. When the water slows down, those are the areas that accumulate the material because it is now has a chance for the material to drop off. Okay, so that's a very important part. Now, on a lot of lakes and so on, where they have an area of the lake that now has a lot of silt and sediment, that's from all the leaves, from all the trees, all the weeds that grow and die and fall to the bottom every year accumulate by adding just a little bit, depending on the amount, but it adds up and pretty soon that accumulates. And that's all from, an average tree probably dumps, I tell people probably 4 dump truck loads of leaves in the water. Okay, wow. The tree is right next to the water, and what happens is as it decomposes, it breaks down, it's much less than that, but it accumulates.
Right.
That's where that is coming from.
Wow.
Okay, so we're, as far as dredging goes, I believe dredging is trying to put the water back to the lake or stream or creek or whatever, put it back the way God made it. Okay,
Yeah.
and to restore it back, and that's the way I look at it.
in listening to Dennis speak, hopefully the committee gets an understanding of what that process of dredging would look like. And, one of the things that stood out in his comments was one tree can produce 4 truckloads of sediment. Considering the size of the Hudson River, we can only begin to imagine the organization and complexity involved in such a cleanup. What you see here is actually a photo of the General Electric plant in Hudson Falls during the early 1970s. During the greater part of the 20th century, between the 1920s and 1970s, General Electric, with its factories along the Hudson River, were granted permission to dump materials into the Hudson River for waste removal. It was later discovered that the material they were dumping was actually extremely dangerous to the health of humans, plants, fish, and animals. The chemical at the forefront of the issue was polychlorinated biphenyls, or they're more commonly called PCBs. These are man-made materials, and as we can see here from the placard of hazardous materials, PCBs are oily liquid, white crystalline, solid, or hard resin. They're severely irritating, and the research suspects cancer hazards with this material. Chronic conditions include chloracne, GI disturbances, neurological symptoms, liver enlargement, menstrual changes, bronchitis, and possible reproductive and teratogenic effects. The National Institute of Environmental Health Services states on their website that since 1929, over 1 million pounds of PCBs have been released into the Hudson River. Dumping and leakage from General Electric plants at Fort Edward and Hudson Falls have resulted in PCB contamination of the water, animal and plant life, and sediment. A National Academy of Sciences committee has actually stated that PCBs pose the largest potential carcinogenic risk of any environmental contaminant for which measures exist. So, although the EPA has allowed GE to conclude their current cleanup and dredging efforts on the Hudson, the scientific evidence shows that the ultimate outcome and results of the effort will take years to analyze. What we're proposing today is that ongoing data collection on several data points need to continue to be followed up on and analyzed to determine what effect, if any, PCBs are continuing to have on the health of individuals, plants, fish, and wildlife, and the environment all along the Hudson River Valley. This would also include air data reports, as several reports have actually looked at the effects PCBs have in the air on individuals. And with the current dredging that took place, what risk or what release of PCBs happened during that time period and what effects has it had? And only through analyzing data and collecting it are we really going to understand the true impact of what that project had. And again, these recommendations are based on a multitude of scientific evidence, journals, and periodical assessments, as well as government agencies. And the benefit of the analysis, our ongoing analysis, will not only serve the people in the communities along the Hudson River Valley, but also serve as a scientific opportunity to allow for safer and enhanced practice for future projects. We want to thank the committee for listening to us today. We are certainly available for any questions or concerns in regards to this presentation, and hope that, again, all of the evidence clearly shows that an ongoing effort really needs to be done to make sure that these communities are safe. Thank you very much.